On the bustling corridors of Nova Unity Academy, students from hundreds of different worlds hurried to their classes. Some had shimmering wings, some had scales, and some had multiple arms. But one student stood out in a different way. Lyra, a small alien girl with glowing skin that changed colors with her emotions, and two thin antennae that twitched when she felt nervous. Lyra had always been quiet. She liked reading about distant planets and studying complex star maps. But at school, her differences made her a target. The other students laughed at the way her antennae wiggled, or the soft hum she made when thinking deeply. Even her attempts to join group activities were ignored, or worse, they became a reason for jokes. Today was no different. Lyra walked slowly to the cafeteria, her bag slung awkwardly over one shoulder. She tried to keep her head down, hoping to avoid attention. But as she rounded the corner, she ran straight into a group of taller students from the Zorvian class. "Watch where you're going, freak," one sneered. His blue-scaled hand pushed her gently but firmly, enough to send her floating a few inches in the low-gravity hallway. Lyra gasped, flailing her arms. She tried to steady herself, but another student grabbed her bag and tossed it across the floor. Books and gadgets tumbled in all directions. Everyone around watched quietly. Some whispered, some laughed quietly, but no one stepped forward. Lyra's cheeks glowed a deep purple, a color that in her species meant fear and embarrassment. Her antennae drooped. She wanted to sink into the floor, disappear, anywhere but here. From across the hallway, Ethan, a human exchange student from Earth, saw what was happening. He had only been at the academy for a few weeks, but already he noticed how alien social rules were different. On Earth, someone being pushed around like this would often have someone intervene. Ethan's stomach tightened. He couldn't just walk away. He took a deep breath and stepped forward, keeping his hands open in a non-threatening way.
"Hey, that's not okay,"
he called out in his clear, calm voice. The bullies turned, startled. They had not expected a human to speak up. One of them sneered. "Oh, look, a little human wants to play hero." Ethan smiled, not in fear, but in confidence. "I don't care what species you are. You don't treat someone like that." The hallway went quiet. Lyra floated there, frozen, eyes wide. She couldn't believe someone had spoken to the bullies. Not just anyone, a human. Ethan moved closer, gently helping Lyra grab her fallen books. "Here, let me help you," he said. Lyra's hands shook as she took the books, and she mumbled a quiet thank you. Her skin shifted to a soft, calm green, a sign of relief and gratitude. "See," Ethan said, looking back at the group, "you don't need to make fun of someone to look strong. You can be strong by being kind." A few students shifted uncomfortably. Some had never heard anyone speak like that, especially a human. The bullies stared at Ethan, and then at Lyra. They were used to fear and silence, but here was someone who did not fear them. And in front of the whole hallway, for the first time in weeks, Lyra felt like maybe she wasn't completely alone. She looked up at Ethan, blinking. Why did you do that?" she asked softly. "Because no one should be alone when others are mean," Ethan replied simply. "Everyone deserves respect, no matter what they look like." Maybe things could change. Maybe she didn't have to hide anymore. But deep down, she knew standing up against the crowd would not be easy. The academy was big, and bullies were everywhere. Still, for the first time that day, she felt a small spark of hope. Someone had noticed. Someone had stood up for her. And maybe, just maybe, things could be different. The next day at Nova Unity Academy, the corridors were buzzing with students preparing for the morning lessons. Lyra walked slowly, her bag over her shoulder, hoping to stay invisible, but whispers followed her. Some students pointed at her, giggling behind their hands. She tried to ignore them. Her glowing skin had settled into a calm teal, a color of cautious hope. But inside, her heart raced. She did not want another confrontation. Not today. Ethan, however, had other plans. He had noticed the way the crowd treated her yesterday and knew it would not stop on its own. He waited for the perfect moment. Lunch break in the zero-gravity cafeteria, when most students were distracted with food and chatter. Lyra entered the cafeteria quietly, carrying a tray of food. A group of bullies from her class noticed her immediately. One of them, a tall, horned alien named Zarn, blocked her path. "Well, if it isn't the glowing freak," he said, grinning.
"Careful, you might float away again."
Lyra's hands trembled, and her antennae drooped. She took a small step back, trying to avoid trouble. But before the bullies could corner her, a strong voice rang out. "Hey, leave her alone." Ethan strode into the middle of the cafeteria, his boots lightly bouncing off the zero-gravity floor. Heads turned, jaws dropped. A human confronting bullies openly? That was almost unheard of at the academy. Zarn turned toward him, surprise and irritation flashing on his face. "And who are you supposed to be?" he asked. "I'm someone who believes no one deserves to be treated like this," Ethan said firmly. "Everyone here is supposed to be learning and growing together, not laughing at someone else's differences." The cafeteria grew quiet. Even the teachers, patrolling from a distance, paused to watch. "You're just a human," another bully scoffed. "What do you know about our rules?" Ethan smiled, calm but confident. "Maybe I don't know your rules, but I know right from wrong. And bullying is wrong. Now, step aside."
For a moment, the bullies hesitated. The cafeteria was crowded, and other students were starting to whisper among themselves.
Some even moved a little closer. Curious. Ethan wasn't afraid. His presence, his courage, gave them pause. Lyra watched from behind her tray, amazed. Her glowing skin flickered from teal to soft green. Hope and gratitude. She had never seen anyone defend her so boldly before. "Come on, Zarn," Ethan said, keeping his voice calm but firm. "You don't need to make fun of anyone to feel better. Let her pass." Zarn frowned. He was used to intimidation, but this human did not look afraid. Slowly, he stepped aside, and the rest of the bullies followed. Lyra exhaled quietly and moved past them. Once they were clear, Ethan held out his hand. "Are you okay?" he asked. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "Thank you. I didn't think anyone would ever." She trailed off, unsure what to say. "You're welcome," Ethan replied. "No one should face this alone. You don't have to be invisible anymore." For the first time, Lyra felt a spark of confidence. She realized that someone could stand up for her, even if no one else would. It didn't erase the fear or the past humiliation, but it made her feel stronger. As they sat together at a quiet corner table, Ethan chatted lightly, asking about her classes and interests. Lyra began to relax, sharing small stories about her favorite star maps and alien cultures. Slowly, laughter bubbled from her, small but genuine. Some nearby students noticed watching the unusual human-alien friendship form. Whispers began to shift, from teasing to curiosity. Maybe Lyra was not just a target. Maybe she could be a friend, a teammate, even someone to admire. Ethan glanced at her, smiling. "You're smarter than you think, and braver too. Just don't forget it." Lyra's skin glowed warmly now, her antennae perking up in a subtle but happy twitch. For the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Maybe this human friend could help her survive, and maybe even thrive, at the academy. But even as she felt this small spark of confidence, she knew the challenge was only beginning. The academy was a vast place, full of bullies, skeptics, and students who would never forgive weakness. Standing up today was only the first step, and tomorrow, she knew, she would have to face the world again. The week passed quickly at Nova Unity Academy, and the air buzzed with excitement. Today was the start of the Academy's annual Interstellar Challenge, a competition designed to test strategy, teamwork, and problem-solving. Students from every class would be teamed up, and for Lyra, this was both terrifying and hopeful. When the team assignments were posted on the large holographic screen, Lyra's stomach sank. She was grouped with Zarn, the tall horned alien who had bullied her, and his two friends. Her hands trembled as she stepped closer, her glowing skin flickering between nervous purple and soft teal. She wanted to shrink into the floor and disappear before panic could overwhelm her, A familiar voice called out. "Don't worry.
I'll be on your team too,"
said Ethan, stepping forward. The human's easy confidence eased some of her fear. Lyra's antennae twitched in relief. The other team members looked skeptical.
"You brought a human?" Zarn asked, raising an eyebrow. "Humans are weak."
"They can't survive half the challenges here." Ethan smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe we just have different strengths. Let's see how this goes." The first stage of the challenge was a zero-gravity obstacle course. Teams had to navigate floating platforms, swinging beams and rotating tunnels, while collecting energy crystals scattered across the course. Many alien students moved gracefully, using wings, extra arms, or telekinetic abilities. Lyra's telepathic senses gave her a unique advantage. She could detect the safest path and anticipate the movements of the rotating platforms. As they started, Lyra hesitated. Zarn shot her a challenging glare. "Ah, follow me, freak," he muttered. But the obstacles were tricky, and even Zarn's confidence wavered. "Lyra, watch that beam!" Ethan shouted. She adjusted mid-jump, guiding Zarn just in time. For the first time, the bullies realized her intelligence was valuable. By the time they reached the first checkpoint, Lyra was not just surviving. She was leading. Her glowing skin shifted to a proud green, antenna straight and alert. Even Zarn was forced to admit her skill silently. The next stage was a puzzle that required communication and logic. The team had to activate a series of alien glyphs in the correct order. Zarn struggled, misinterpreting the symbols. Lyra focused, sensing the patterns and guiding Ethan to press the correct glyphs.
"You're good at this," Zarn muttered grudgingly, a rare hint of respect in his voice.
"Thanks," Lyra said softly, surprised she could respond without fear. The final stage was the most dangerous, a simulated alien threat that required bravery and split-second decisions.
The team had to retrieve a floating energy core while dodging moving obstacles and sudden traps. Lyra's telepathy alerted her to the danger before it happened. Ethan used his quick thinking and agility to create openings for the team. Together, they moved like a well-oiled machine. When Lyra grabbed the core, Zarn and his friends looked at her in amazement. She had led them through impossible danger. The crowd of students watching the competition gasped and cheered. By the end of the day, Lyra's team had won. Not because of Zarn's strength or brute force, but because of Lyra's unique abilities, her courage, and the human ingenuity of Ethan. She had proven her worth beyond her appearance and the whispers of ridicule. Later, in the quiet of the observation deck, Lyra and Ethan looked down at the glowing arenas below. "I never thought I could do that," Lyra admitted, her skin glowing a calm blue.
"You did it because you're brave," Ethan said, "and you didn't let fear stop you."
"That's what makes you strong." Lyra realized that strength wasn't about wings or horns or being the loudest. It was about courage, intelligence, and the willingness to stand up, not just for herself, but for her team. And for the first time, she felt truly seen, not as a freak, but as someone capable, respected, and worthy. The whispers of the bullies no longer frightened her. She had proved that she belonged. But she knew tomorrow would bring new challenges. The academy was vast, and not everyone would be so quick to accept change. Still, for the first time, Lyra felt ready. With Ethan at her side and her own courage rising, she was no longer the girl who hid in the shadows. She was a force to be reckoned with. The academy's corridors buzzed louder than ever. Word of Lyra's victory in the Interstellar Challenge had spread quickly. Students who had once ignored her now watched with curiosity, some even with admiration. She walked to class that morning, her glowing skin calm and bright, her antennae standing tall. Even Zarn and his friends looked different. The arrogance in their eyes had softened. The bullies had seen her courage, her intelligence, and her skill. Respect replaced mockery, though grudgingly. Lyra felt it in a quiet, warm way. It was not just about being accepted, but about earning it. Ethan walked beside her, carrying his usual easy smile. "Looks like everyone is noticing," he said. "I hope it lasts," Lyra murmured, glancing at the groups of students whispering among themselves. "Even if it doesn't," Ethan replied, "you've proven something important, to them and to yourself. Strength isn't about fear, it's about courage." The day's main event was announced. the Unity simulation, a complex test that required students to work in large mixed teams to resolve a simulated galactic crisis. Each team faced puzzles, tactical challenges, and moral dilemmas. It was the final stage of the Academy's year-long program and the most watched event by all classes. Lyra's team was assigned to a scenario involving a malfunctioning planetary defense system. The simulation required split-second decisions, strategic thinking, and trust. As soon as the challenge started, Lyra felt a surge of confidence. The bullies were no longer obstacles. They were teammates. She coordinated with Zarn, directing him to handle the heavy energy cores, while Ethan devised quick solutions for unexpected hazards. Lyra's telepathy allowed her to sense the safest routes and predict incoming dangers, saving the team multiple times. The simulation suddenly threw a dangerous twist. A virtual alien threat appeared, attacking the team's path and blocking access to the core objective. Panic rippled among some students, but Lyra stayed calm. She directed her teammates with clear, confident commands.
Zarn! Left! Ethan! We need a diversion! She called out.
Together, they maneuvered past the obstacle, their teamwork seamless. Lyra reached the core and stabilized it, preventing the simulation from triggering catastrophic failure. Cheers erupted from the observers, even those who had doubted her days before. After the simulation, the Academy head addressed all students. "Today, we witnessed something remarkable," the head said. "Skill, courage, and cooperation. Qualities that define true leaders. Lyra has shown us that being different is not a weakness. Courage comes from standing up, from helping others, and from using your gifts wisely." Lyra felt a rush of pride, her glowing skin radiating a vibrant green. She looked at Ethan, who gave her a small, proud nod. She realized that this moment was not just about winning a challenge. It was about proving that kindness, courage, and intelligence could change hearts. Later, in a quiet corner of the Academy's observation deck, Lyra and Ethan looked out at the swirling stars outside the station. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of possibilities. "I never thought anyone would ever see me," Lyra admitted softly. "I did," Ethan said simply. "And now others are starting to see you too. But even if they didn't, you'd still matter. You'd still be brave, smart, and important."
Lyra smiled. She felt lighter than she had in years.
The bullies had apologized privately, some even offering small gestures of friendship. It wasn't about changing them completely. It was about showing them that respect and courage could earn trust and admiration. As they watched a distant comet streak across the galaxy, Lyra felt a quiet certainty. She was no longer the timid, bullied girl hiding in shadows. She was a part of the Academy, a part of the universe, and most importantly, she had a friend who believed in her. For the first time, she realized that being different was not a curse. It was a strength, and with courage, kindness, and determination, even a small alien girl could shine brighter than the stars. The universe was vast, full of challenges and wonders, but for Lyra, nothing seemed impossible anymore.